Hello, everybody. This is Dago City, pretty snazzy walkthroughs. Code Veronica X Resident Evil A rank, you know. And okay, so now we're in the Antarctic base. Let me explain this pretty quickly. Where it said save first half end data, that's the only spot you're allowed to save in doing an A rank run. All right, because they noticed that your save count didn't go to 1; it said 0 still. Right? Oh yeah, Narp's still here.
Yeah.
I'm sure by now you definitely like
If you
remember.
don't know who I am by now,
Then
then
clearly you have like short-term memory loss. Okay, and okay, so the going here because there's explosive tip rounds. Okay, the cutscene that just happened before this. So Steve's like it turns out like Alfred took over your plane or something, so he like forced you to drive all the way down here, and then just like so like Claire's like sleeping. Like, Steve like kind of wakes up and he's like, oh, what's going on? Oh, Claire. So then he leans over and he's gonna try to kiss her. Yeah, he's yeah, and then she wakes up. He's like, oh crap, oh can't do this. Nope, I'm afraid. Yeah, Steve's a creep. Wait till you see what happens later in here. All right, so we're gonna kind of continue the argument we were having. Okay, so just like restate the last thing you said, like Resident Evil 4 and whatnot.
well, yeah, like we were saying, old Dave was saying how like he was complaining about all the things from the old game, but like Resident Evil 4, a game that's pretty much universally considered as being awesome today, in 15 years from now, I'm sure people will be finding excuses for how it's a terrible game.
Okay, here's my response to that. I think that like a lot of the gamers who play like entirely mainstream titles like Call of Duty and stuff like that, they're easily gonna get annoyed at that. Like the influence Call of Duty has had on like everything,
It's ridiculous.
people are not getting sick of it, and I have no freaking clue why. But like seriously, the only people who are getting sick of it are the people who are actually like objective with that. But there's not nearly enough people like that in the world. They're just like, oh my god, you're shooting, blow stuff up. All right, so then like you notice like the Call of Duty games have become like progressively more Michael Bayish, like each and more one. So people are accepting that as the golden standard, like a high, fast paced, like move along thing. The gamers like 20 years from now, like, wait, no, 2012. Never mind, welcome back.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, like the gamers 20 years from now, they're gonna think, oh my god, like even for like Resident Evil 4. It's like, oh my god, this isn't fast paced enough. Like they're not going to complain about stuff like the not moving and shooting. They're going to complain about the fact that there's not enough explosions. They're going to say, oh my god, these guys are shooting back. Like I think, like they sort of satisfy that. That was a joke zombie right there.
Yeah.
They sort of like satisfy like the like more action on the enemy's part in Resident Evil 5. But I think some of like the general gameplay mechanics, like the whole you can go back and repeat any level thing, that was just like to make it easier to appeal to more modern gamers. And I think they're actually like taking that out of Resident Evil 6. They're gonna make
Yeah.
it like straight, like one straight shot through to like actually make it more survivally. Like like all the Resident Evil fans tend to be a lot more objective, honestly, because the most of them, I mean not all, there's still like a few of the jerks. They like fully accepted the fact that okay, we changed from the original survival horror thing and like successfully like transitioned into a more like action oriented genre without being Michael Bay. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah. So and then that was like they found like the perfect middle ground to like still accept the old fans because Resident Evil 4 like there was a lot of like really tense moments in there and it was like still scary. Like do you remember like chapter I think 3-2 or something where it had like all the invisible monsters and stuff like going under the well? You're in the castle.
I don't remember that now.
Okay, well, yeah, but that like scared the crap out of me. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Like games should still have the thing, a sort of like a tense, like scary thing. Like you're afraid you're gonna die. You think like, oh, even if they're making it much more easier now to say like, oh, there's gonna be more consequence, like less consequences for dying, like old games. Hold on a second. Make sure you examine this, otherwise you'll be sad later. Trust me. Okay. It's like the consequence for dying is usually like start at the start of the checkpoint in like Resident Evil 4, but you still think, crap, I still don't know what I'm doing here. You're still afraid to die, while as compared to like that's what makes it scary. You know what I mean? Like Resident Evil 5. I mean, like I said, I like that game, but they didn't really make it feel tense enough. Other than it's like, oh my god, there's not enough ammo. I need to replay other levels to pick up more ammo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's like the only like tense thing I felt in that game. Other than just like, oh, this is fun. They have like the same like solid general gameplay concept as Resident Evil 4, but it's like you're afraid you're gonna die. But like as opposed to like games like Call of Duty, like being afraid to die. No, you're not afraid you die because like when you die in like those games, like you're just like, oh my god, I died, amateur cheating, and like all like the stupid like 5-year-olds like play online and stuff like that. They just like rage over it and they have no idea like why. It's like, okay, yeah, you died because this game just it's kind of. I don't know. I think like in the Call of Duty they just try. It's like, okay, we're gonna make it hard by like we're just like put way too many grenades and these are only like do a crap ton of damage to you. So like you die in 3 seconds and you get hit. It's like, yeah, that just makes it a load of crap, not like a real war. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's like the influence of the mainstream games. To get back to my point here, the influence of all like the really mainstream games is what's gonna make people dislike like Resident Evil 4 in 20 years. You know what I mean? Okay, now you can say something. I was talking for a while there. A lot to digest.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't really add anything to that.
Yeah, but okay. So bottom line on the whole classic versus modern thing, sort of. So I think we come to agreement that the classic isn't always good, but they usually tend to be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, whether or not you can say it's the best in the series, that's debatable.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't for a second say that the first Resident Evil was the best game in the series.
Okay, all right.
I wouldn't say that, but it is my favorite, though.
Okay.
It's my favorite.
It's okay. Okay, I can like think of a sort of like a me reference to that. Like the one band I listened to, Death. Like I say, okay, their first album is by far my favorite one, but this their later album is like objectively better. You know what I mean? So I think it also boils down to like in terms of whether or not you like it, it's like how much enjoyment you can get out of playing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I hate to go back to the Assassin's Creed
okay.
thing.
Yeah.
But I think it makes a good example. Like, say, okay, the first game, I thought the combat mechanics and everything, and like the whole like how you complete missions, I thought it all made sense. I thought it all made a lot of sense and it worked well. And
Right.
in preceding games, they made combat way too easy, and they pretty much handed you all your missions on a silver platter. So it didn't really feel like you were accomplishing anything on your own because you basically had all your buddies do everything for you.
Yeah.
And,
See,
yeah,
no,
and the thing is,
okay.
from Assassin's Creed 2 to Revelations, they didn't change anything at all. They might have added like 1 or 2 new mechanics, but they didn't change anything at all. And I'm glad that in Assassin's Creed 3 that's coming out, they're completely changing everything pretty much. So I'm
really?
I'm glad they're doing that. But,
Okay.
But for like pretty much the entire like last few games they've come out with, nothing's been different. All right, so go.
Yeah, that was like actually like the common complaint in all the reviews that I've actually read of those games. By the way, I got to do something here, so I'm gonna go upstairs and like go back down. Yeah, I think I like paused to like plug in the controller because like running out of battery or something like that there. But yeah, see the thing I think the combat in the first Assassin's Creed, it seems very one-dimensional. You know what I mean? Like
Explain.
It just felt like it's either go and like counter kill all the guards or something like that, or either that or just like a constant like just block slash thing. Like I felt in like the later Assassin's Creeds they added like there's like so many more ways to avoid combat. You know what I mean? Like assassinating guards. Like you didn't really have you had like so many more weapons to do that.
Well, yeah, but that just goes along with the whole sequels and adding new weapons and features type.
Yeah,
thing.
I know, but I think like with like Assassin's Creed, like I'm just comparing 1 to Brotherhood because I haven't played 2 yet. So excuse me for doing that, but I just like the fact how they made it so I don't know, like I just felt myself like avoiding combat more often because I felt like it was much harder to like survive an onslaught of guards or something like that in like the later Assassin's Creed. In the first one, you just kind of like randomly run around town until like they stop seeing you and then hide again. But in but then you still have like the option of fighting them,
Mm-hmm.
and like sometimes you're even forced to. But like in Brotherhood, I felt like, okay, I can't fight all these guards. They're probably gonna murder me, and like a bunch of times, like they actually succeeded in murdering me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I feel like they made like much more in terms of consequences of getting captured and stuff like that in the later games. So then you felt yourself like, okay, I'm actively trying to avoid combat, and so you try to find better ways to do that. So they implement stuff like the throwing knives seem to be like much more effective in Brotherhood. Because I noticed like in the first game, every time I threw a throwing knife, it like just didn't do anything or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like almost like so in Brotherhood, they like unless that guard is like heavily armored or something like that, like a throwing knife usually would kill them. And I actually don't like the fact that the gun makes a really loud noise.
It doesn't make sense at all.
It doesn't like I'll like shoot a guard down and then the gun, but I'm just considering that the gun is like another useful addition. It's like an alternative to throwing knives. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If like throwing knives won't work in that situation, you can use a gun and stuff like that. And then I'm thinking like Revelations, they went a little too far, and like the hook on your thing and like smoke bombs and stuff like that.
Revelations.
But bunch of like unnecessary crap.
Revelations is a complete waste. of
Okay,
money.
oh wait, hold on. Let me tell you what happened in this room. All right, so the reason like you had to like go out and get a gas mask, which I got beforehand. By the way, guys, get the gas mask first. It's because Steve was. Oh, I'll just describe it. Sorry, guys, we're going to the video again. Steve was operating a crane to move the bulldozer they're going to use to like dig through the wall to get out of the Arctic base here.
Mm-hmm.
And so while he was operating it, he turned over and started staring at Claire's butt.
Oh,
Yeah, there it gets better. So while he was doing that, he messed up a little bit and bumped into a pipe and caused a huge oil leak in the room. And then, oh jeez, it's just hilarious. Oh wait, that was about to happen. I don't think I did that yet. That's what's gonna happen. That's the cut. That's the cutscene I'm about to skip next video. Do you want to do another one?
Sure, why not?
Okay, guys, we'll see you next video. This is like stare at the funny Nosferatu picture. Okay, see ya.